Unongilam ke Kongres bereru hagajogopor unongilam ke liang persya hagajylla Dr. Mukul sangmau la ong balada penrekam makna ya ka inline permit tangkani ka an kanum don setia ki binyat ki bala ban yada ya ke jylla na ke jungwan ki breu ki bana sabar badai halo kate ke nongrem bala thau ya ka MRSSA par ke jingshim ya karai ban penrekam ya ka ILP hagni ke jylla badai namar ke jingpelong an jong ka Sorkar pdeng ya ka Citizenship Amendment Act ne CAA. Ulakano baka Sorkar jylla kamshim khia yikirai bala menjur hapo ke yang dorbar thawan ke jylla ban penkongo ya ka Sorkar India ban pentrekam yiki inline permit namar hadin baladep ban menjur haga dorbar u menteri rongba ulak kular ban shimkhia ban penkongo ya ka Sorkar India. Ulong ba hadin ban nakal yang ka Sorkar kalalek banyak ren ya ka ni ka March Delhi Hakabala pa ban ap hadin ke Christmas mencem snem re menta lawan sakwe ke Christmas bat chisnem kala ya kaliang persya ka hab ban penken mau ban kersiu thia biang ya ka Sorkar namar kani ke jing thok ulong baki seng balang ki bayaki menta ki hab ban kersiu thia ya ka Sorkar pan lada ka Sorkar kamla ban pynurlong ya ka ILP ka penpau baka thok ki pai ba hapo ke yang dorbar thoan Dr. Mukul ula ongru baya kamat ILP la pensngau de kiseng balang naru kipor ba menchwa na ko ka Sorkar sya ko ka Sorkar pat hagitu kipor klam ka Sorkar ka klam ay ka ILP henry wat la klam ay ka ILP hagato ka por na kaleng ka Sorkar balay lam ka Congress kalawan ra de ki an la jong hagajylla ban telakam ye ki briu iba wan na sabar jong ka jylla da ka ba wanra ya ka Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act MRSSA. Ulong kat ba dang up ya ke jungmunjur na ka Sorkar India ban pentrekam ya ka ILP balai ka Sorkar jylla kamla ban pentrekam mo shwa ya ka MRSSA.
The opposition has, the members of the CLP has pulled up the government in the recently concluded autumn session for not being serious to implement ILP and to take measures to get the necessary approval from Government of India to implement ILP in the state of Meghalaya. Now, we all must recollect that this issue of implementation of ILP in the states of Meghalaya has been taken up by different civil society organizations on behalf of the people of the state. In the preceding decades, they have taken up this issue not only with one government, but with government after government, with different successive governments of the state. Now, when different successive governments could not implement or did not implement for whatever reason, what has happened in the preceding years before the present current government was installed? Even though ILP was ultimately not implemented in the state of Meghalaya during the preceding government's time, what has happened? We have taken upon ourselves the responsibility of ensuring that we have our own law. We have our own law to protect the interests of our people and address those concerns which are related to issues of influx and issues of illegal immigration in the state of Meghalaya and the likely ramification, negative ramification rather, on the demography of the state. We have had an exhaustive engagement with all concerned for a long, long time, came up with the best measures available, possibly which can be formatted in a manner of law and mandated as a law. And that was how the Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act culminated, became an act. We have tried to draw the attention of the government, even while waiting for the ultimate note from the Government of India, that while waiting for the approval for implementation of the ILP in the state by Government of India to ensure that the mandate of the very comprehensive Act, Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act, be implemented. What has happened to that? Why is the state government not sincere in implementing this MRSSA, or in other words, in full form, Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act? Are they not concerned about the likely ramification that we foresee if this act is not implemented? Because we have made it abundantly clear earlier that even if ILP were required to be implemented, ILP alone will not have the enough teeth. I repeat, even if ILP were to be implemented, ILP will not have enough teeth. Therefore, we have the state's own enacted law, which was passed by our own legislative assembly, Meghalaya Resident Safety Security Act. Now, the last winter session, when all of us discussed, deliberated on the need to further amplify the mandate of this Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act by implementing ILP because of a new situation that has unfolded because of the Citizenship Amendment Act which was imposed upon us. Please remember that. The whole state woke up and felt that there was a need to have ILP to be enacted to complement the Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act, not in isolation. And therefore, what is the stand of our Indian National Congress vis-a-vis that felt need of the people of the state? Our mandate was given to the government in the assembly itself by adopting a resolution unanimously that the state government will take all necessary measures to prevail upon Government of India to implement ILP as per the resolution adopted in the state legislature by all the parties unanimously. What was the promise? You heard the deliberations and the assurance of the Chief Minister then while the resolution was being moved. Was it not a fact that the moment we have the resolution, he will ensure that it is implemented in the state and they will do all necessary, whatever is necessary to prevail upon Government of India? What has happened? After the resolution was adopted, that is the stand of the government, stand of the CLP and stand of the party that yes, over and above Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act, because of the situation that has unfolded, because of the Citizenship Amendment Act that was imposed upon us, therefore, to further complement or amplify the Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act and its mandate, we must put in place the provision of the Eastern Frontier Regulation Act 1873 in the form of ILP. They took a delegation after that. We are all waiting for positive response. We were assured that after Christmas, they were asked to go back, and then we were even said that, okay, we have got the green signal probably after Christmas. Now we are nearing another, this is already 2021 December. 2020. Christmas is, I think there's already the whole festive mood in the state. And 1 year has gone. The opposition had to remind the government and the Chief Minister in the last assembly, you have witnessed that the members of the CLP have discussed this issue, pulled up the state government for their non-seriousness and for lying to us and not doing anything, and shake them up and woke them up from the deep slumber. Now, because of that, the civil society organizations and NGOs are there, shaking up and waking them up from the deep slumber. Therefore, what has been promised to the people, what has been promised to us in the assembly, must be fulfilled by this government. They should not lie to us. If they don't do what is required and expected to be done by them, then it will amount to lying in the floor of the house to all of us. Promising something which they don't do in the house amounts to lying to the people of the state, not only to the elected representatives. Therefore, friends, we would like the government not to just play to the gallery, but be serious upon its responsibility that is vested upon them. On the issue of ILP, as they have promised, and as has been taken up by the opposition, by the members of the CLP in the August House in the recently concluded assembly, they must proceed further and prevail upon Government of India. I hope they will not continue to remain in deep slumber and find all the excuses to somehow hide their lack of seriousness and dishonesty. 60 members of the August House, of the current August House, have already given the mandate to proceed further, to prevail upon Government of India to implement ILP in the House through its resolution. Now that's why I'm saying that opposition has already shaken them and woke them up during the last session, saying that, look, you have been given this mandate in the August House through resolution which was adopted unanimously. What are they waiting for? Were they seen really aggressively pursuing Government of India to really prevail upon Government of India to implement ILP, as was decided and assured in the August House? That is what we have sought to know in the floor of the House during the last session. Now, therefore, the resolution which was adopted is representing all the 60 members. Please be clear on this. That resolution represents the 60 members of the August House. So they need not play to the gallery, nor do we want to play to the gallery. We want to be practical and we are serious. Honorable Governor, to find out about the status of the amendment that was given effect by the Assembly in respect to the proposed amendment of the Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act. Now, the CLP also was concerned about, how the Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act, the mandate of the principal act, has multifaceted provision to enforce various measures to take care of the concern of influx and illegal immigration. It is not just the entry-exit point. Our understanding is based on the fact that we have a long, porous interstate border and long, porous international border. How many entry-exit points are there practically, other than the highways, other than the state highways, other than the district highways, connecting Assam and Meghalaya? There are too many roads. It's too porous. Therefore, it is only appropriate for us to understand what is going to be on the ground reality. We have to be realistic and scientific. Now, with long, porous interstate border with Assam, when we are talking about interstate entry-exit point to facilitate, whole filtering of the people who enter and exit the state, as per the mandate of the Meghalaya Resident Safety Security Act, we also have other routes which will not be covered. How do you take care of that? The Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act has a provision to address that concern. That even after anybody sneak into the state, they will not be able to reside in the state without actually providing all their credentials to the concerned authorities. And therefore, the provision in the Meghalaya Resident Safety Security Act is that any locality wherever a premises is rent out for any tenants must have all the measures put in place as per the mandate of the law, as per the mandate of Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act, to provide all the details about indicating the credentials of the concerned citizen who would like to take a space for rent, space on rent, whether it is for any business or any purpose of residence. And these measures which is required to be placed in different localities are designed in such a way that it involves our traditional institutions, our local authorities, in addition to the local police authorities. Meaning you have the complete involvement of the people themselves, so there is a complete check and balance mechanism, multi-layered way of filtering the credentials of the people who are entering. Keeping in mind, the massive challenge that we face in view of the illegal immigration in this part of the country. It's not only the northeastern states which face the challenges of illegal immigration. Illegal immigration has been a problem across the nation. I think that is one issue which has been appropriately articulated by many national political parties during elections, during their election rallies. So that becomes still pertinent to the state of Meghalaya and the Northeast. Therefore, this Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act provides that numerous layers of check and balances to really protect the interests of our state. And all these measures put together, including, the measures which is required to be put at the block level to regulate the entry and exit and employment of the interstate migrant laborers, they are all appropriately incorporated in this act. And in order to ensure that this principal act, Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act, can be appropriately implemented across the state, what have we done during our time? Unit labor inspectors, 39 blocks, all the 39 blocks done before the creation of new blocks were all provided with post of labor inspectors. We sanctioned posts of labor inspectors and posted them also, not just created. They have been all posted in all the 39 blocks. Then subsequently we felt that there is some more reinforcement required to be given to the line departments. So we increased the strength of the blocks, CNRD blocks. How many new blocks, CNRD blocks we created further? Initially we wanted to create 6. Then we increased it to 7. Then we increased it to 8. New blocks. Why did we create? To ensure that the hands and ears of the government can reach to every nook and corner of the state in the process of implementation of these important acts for the best interest of our people, to protect our Jatpanri, to protect our generation next. We created new police stations. Why did we create new police stations? So that the government has all the wherewithal to really respond to this call of duty vis-a-vis the various additional burden of implementing Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act. We created new civil subdivisions. So you have more and more officers. You have more and more authorities of government who can be vested with these responsibilities and who can do justice, because then their burden is to a great extent rationalized. We created new districts. Why? Yes, because these laws which were enacted, if required to be implemented to really fully realize the intent enshrined in the law, then you will have to ensure that you have all the wherewithal as a government to implement them with efficacy. And all the available loopholes wherever there, it's a continuous process. We'll have to still locate them and further see where we need to further reinforce and correct. I'm sure many of our friends might not have read it fully. Please let us read it. And I have even requested every party leader, including our district Congress committee president, the block Congress committee president, and we'll be sharing it in a vernacular in Khasi and Garo, the bullet points of the mandate of this act, how comprehensive this act is, and how various multi-pronged approach to deal with the issue of influx and illegal immigration is formatted within the mandate of this act. Now it's a different thing that the state government tried to delay the implementation of this principal act, Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act. They decided to amend this. I have to be more analytical. I think we should all try to be more analytical. Was this amendment which was affected by the state government a design or an action by default? We have to further be analytical. I think somebody should do research on this, because if this act would have been operationalized to the extent possible, which does not confine only to entry-exit point, but to regulate the stay of the people and entry of the people in the localities, I think it's a very effective law. So we'll have to be more analytical whether the delay in the implementation of this principal act of Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act is by default due to their lack of understanding or by design. We'll have to know it.